Children need to read storybooks to learn words.
My name is Gregory Omondi, and I work at Story Moja in the sales position. And part of what I do is advise parents, advise teachers, and even children on the best books for their children. The most pressing question that parents have been asking me is, how can I help my child to select the right books? Yeah. So how do I know that this is just the right book for my child? That it's not a very difficult book, and it's not a very easy book for my child. I appreciate this because having interacted with parents and children, and having even my own young baby who is just 9 months old, I appreciate the value of having the right books at the right time and creating an environment for children to literally engage with the books. Because as the saying goes, children are literally born readers on the laps of their mothers and the laps of their fathers. Let's dive right into the first question. So why is it important to know the reading level of my child? Yeah, and this is a very important question because as a parent, knowledge of the reading level of your child is very critical. That if you know the books that or the level at which your child is reading, you'll be in a better position to select the books that are right for your child. This means you'll be able to know to select books that are not too hard and books that are not too easy for your child. So if you choose a book that is very hard for your child, chances are your child is going to be frustrated trying to read that book because it's way beyond their reading level. But if you choose a book that is at the level of the child, chances are your child will fall in love with reading that particular book, and they will be excited to keep reading that book. And the unfortunate thing is, if you choose a book that is way below the reading level of your child, chances are your child will be bored reading that book because they feel that they have advanced and gone beyond that level. So the advantage of choosing just the right level of book for your child means that the child will read at their own level and pace of development. The second thing is, this child will be very confident because they will know that they are actually reading for entertainment, they are reading for enjoyment, and they're also reading to gain meaning from that. Another importance of knowing the reading level of your child is you will be able to match the books available to the ability of the child, and even get slightly higher books in order to build the confidence of your child, but at the same time to enable your child to be able to construct sentences in a better way. The third importance is that when you provide the right level, the child is able to comprehend and understand the materials they read. Yeah? At the same time, the child is able to talk about the books that they have read and even share suggestions on why they like or why they don't like that particular material. And in the process, you're going to build the critical thinking and the creativity and even the imagination of that child. So it's very important that a parent identify the right reading level of your child and be able to select the right material for that particular child. Available research, research has been done, and some of the research materials available indicate that pleasure reading, when children read for pleasure, they have a greater influence on the child's overall academic achievement. So when the children enjoy reading and reading and reading for pleasure, the overall performance of the child is going to improve. That was according to Pearson, who did the study in 2015. And also another study done by Bridges in 2014 indicated that some of the children or some of the celebrities we know, some of the presidents we know, some of the best leaders we know were avid and were great readers. Yeah, I'm a great reader. Me, Obama, Barack Obama, I'm a great reader. And that's why I was able to lead the free world. But you know what? I'm not Obama, but I say I can be like Obama if I read as many books as I can. So it's very important for you as a parent to know the level of your child in order to be able to match accurately and be able to determine the reading level of the child. So that was question number one. Let's dive right into question number two. So as a parent, say I go to a bookshop and I'm looking for materials for my child. How do I select the right book for my child? This has been a problem for me, especially when I go to a bookshop and I'm bombarded with very many books, and I'm spoiled for choice, and I literally don't know which is the level or which is the right book for my child. This is a question that a parent posed to me in one of my training sessions, and I would like to share some insights. Let me start with some general guidelines. Yeah. So when you go to a bookshop and say this is your bookshop, and you've realized there are so many books in the bookshop, the first thing you need to do is flip through the books. So just pick many of the books available, flip through the books, see what the books contain, and then you can also note the age. Most of the books available in the bookshop have indicated some age guidelines on the covers. Yeah, so they show some age guidelines on the covers. So you look at the age, and then some of the books also have guidelines regarding the reading level. So like this book has a guideline down here. It's called the beginner level. So if you look at the beginner level, yeah, you will know this book fits a beginner level. You can see here the beginner level. Yeah, and then after that you can also, I mean, if your child is less than 7 years, between 5 and 7 years, their books are typically very small, which means you can literally read through the books in a matter of few minutes. So like this book has at most 19 to 20 pages. This is a book you can read in 5 minutes because it has pictures and it has very few words. Yeah, so you can easily read from cover to cover in 5 to 7 minutes or so. Yeah, at the very least, when you're looking at the books, you can read maybe one paragraph, read 2 paragraphs, read 1 page, read 2 pages. Look at the message. Yeah, what is the message the author is trying to convey in the book? Yeah, once you've looked at the message, look at the content. Yeah, so as a parent, you're also determining what is the kind of message, what is the language, what values is this book conveying, because I know you as a parent, there are some values you really want to convey. So try to see whether the book aligns to the values or the message you want to convey to your child. Then, as a parent, please pay attention to the language. Yeah, language is very important. So pay attention to the language that has been used in the book, so that you don't get books for children with a language that is way beyond what you want to communicate. And also look at the grammar. You want to get your child a book that has very good grammar, so that you don't give them information that will guide them, will give them wrong grammar or wrong speaking or wrong spelling and such. So look at the language, look at the grammar. Then at the end of it all, make sure you are trying to match the book to the reading level of your child. And if possible, get a book that is a bit higher than the reading level of the child. I'll talk about the reading levels in the next session. In this session, I was talking about how do I select the right books for my child. So in the next session, I'll talk about the 5 reading levels, and hopefully by the end of the day, you will be able to gauge and determine which level or at what level your child is. Thank you very much. My name is Gregory Mondi. See you in the next session.
Children need to read storybooks to learn words. Children need to read storybooks to learn words.
Hello, my name is Gregory Mondi. I work at Story Moja Publishers. In my role at Story Moja, my main job is working with teachers, working with parents, working with children to be able to help them to select and recommend the right book for the children. So one of the biggest questions that parents have been asking me is, how do I select the right book for my child? In my previous video, please make sure you go review the video in our Parents Are Asking series. I talked about the importance of knowing the reading level of your child, and I also talked about some of the guidelines on how to select the right books for your child. So in this session, I'm going to talk about the levels. So the general levels of reading for the various children. And I hope by the end of the video that you'll be able to identify and locate the reading level of your child. So generally, if you buy some of our books from Story Moja, you realize there are levels that have been indicated at the back of the cover. So just closer for you to see. So the levels, I'll read them aloud. The level number one is the emergent reader, and then the second level is the beginner reader. The third level is the transitional reader. The fourth level is the intermediate reader, and the fifth level is the independent reader. So I'll just delve much deeper into the emergent reader. And one of the emergent readers is the book I'm carrying, and some description of the book. So you'll notice the book has around 10 to 20 pages. Very simple book, 10 to 20 pages. And most of the book is pictorial illustrations and pictures and illustrations. So you can see there are pictures and there are illustrations on every page. Yeah. So you can see every page, pictures and illustrations. And then the number of words are few. So depending on the level of the child, for the younger children, it might just be a purely pictorial book or a picture book. But as the children advance, you realize there are some pictures on each page and some words at the bottom. So most of the time, it's a one-word book or maybe a simple sentence, a 2 or 3 word simple sentence, so that you are able to introduce the child to reading. It's very important that you buy books for your toddlers so that they can also learn to identify objects. They can also learn how to hold books and even turn the pages. And they can also learn to examine and talk about the pictures and the objects they see in the book. And they can also learn how to turn the pages from left to right. Yeah. So I will request that if possible, buy books for your toddlers so that they can also use the books at home. On the same note, I will also suggest that you read to them every day. So make sure you spending some time to read to the children at home and literally make it fun and exciting so that they can be able to associate books as part of everyday life. Yeah. Just like waking up and having breakfast and going to bed, so that they're able to understand that books are very important and every human being needs to engage and read books. At the same time, take your time, yeah? Take your time and be able to build consistency. So if you're reading during bedtime periods, make sure that is the time that you're reading to your child. If you're reading the book during lunch hours, keep doing that at that particular time, so that your children can understand and fall into the routine of reading. Yeah. So that is the emergent level. Remember the pointers. Number one, they are up to 20 pages. Number two, they are just pictorials and a few text on the page. Number three, those books, most of them have very colorful illustrations. So they are illustrations that can pique your eye at any given time. The second level is the beginner level. And the beginner level, at this stage in the reading level, the child is able to recognize the words. Yeah? The child is also relying on repetition. So when there's a lot of repetition, the child learns more through repetition. Number three, there are pictures and illustrations that are supporting the words on the page. So that level is very suitable for children who are just starting to recognize words and to read. And the beginner level, at the beginner level, some of the books we have, I'll just pick a few of the books we have here at the beginner level. A book like Sunny the Dirty Flower. Sunny the Dirty Flower, I'll show you. You notice the words have increased. As much as we have the pictures on the page, at the previous level, the words were 1 or 2 words per page, but now you see, we have a whole paragraph, yeah? So you realize the words are increasing as the child continues to identify and locate the words. The pictures are still very colorful and very exciting, so that they are guiding the child to understand whatever is indicated in the text. And the number of pages have also increased from 20 to around 28, yeah? And as a parent, if you flip through this, you can easily tell that this book is actually for a beginner level, yeah? And then the next level is the transitional reader. And the transitional reader kind of increases in terms of the number of pages. So the pages move from 28 to around 32 pages. And one of the books that we have for the transitional reader is this book here. Yeah, it's called My Little Bright and Beautiful Star. I was looking at the title, My Little Bright and Beautiful Star. And this book is suitable for a child who is now learning to read fluently. They have now moved away from identifying words now to learning to read more fluently. And this child can now read with expression, yeah? And this child now does not need a lot of pictures. So if you flip through this book, you realize the number of pictures are now reducing. And this child is also looking to enjoy some fun art styles. So I'll just flip through the book. You realize the pictures are still there, still beautiful, but now the words have increased, yeah? The words have increased, you can see that. The words have increased. So this child is now relying on the words and the pictures to make sense of whatever they have read. Then the next phase is the intermediate reader. So the intermediate reader is now able to read more independently. You'll notice this from your child who is able to curl in a corner somewhere and read independently without your support. And this child is also reading different stories. This child is able also to process different ideas and even read more complex stories. And they prefer a variety of styles, yeah? Those are the intermediate readers. So let me look at one of the intermediate reader we have, and one of them is Baba is Building a New Road. So a book like this one from Story Moja, Baba is Building a New Road, is one of the intermediate readers we have. And you realize the number of pages have increased, and essentially around 31 to 32 pages, and the child is able to read more independently. And the final stage is the independent reader. So the independent reader is a child who is now able to read independently, and most of the time without the support of their parent or their teachers. So a book like Magic or a book like some Shambulizi la Kina Shida are some of the independent readers we have, you can see. And you can see the independent readers we have. Magic, so I'll talk about Magic. You'll notice the number of pages have increased. So this book is 191 pages, yeah? 191 pages, and this book has very few pictures. You see, the text has increased, the number of paragraphs have increased, and so on. And guess what? This book was written by a 12-year-old, yeah? So we're saying challenge your children to read as many books as possible, and the trick is to try and get a book that is slightly higher and above their reading level, so that you create a challenging environment for the children to continue reading. So thank you very much. Those were the 5 levels we have talked about. That is the emergent, the beginner, and then I've talked about the transitional, the intermediate, and the independent reader. Thank you very much. I hope to see you in the next session as we talk about how to further identify the cues for guiding your child in selecting the right book. For more information, especially detailed guidelines on how to go about it, you can visit our website at storymojaafrica.co.ke, and you'll be able to see more details with guidelines regarding age and other levels on our website. Thank you very much.
Children need to read storybooks to learn words.